I've been looking for a game that really showcases the power difference between the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, and while there's lots of online comparisons, the recent release of Apex Legends really showcases this. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, keep in mind, I don't usually do graphical comparisons, but my curiosity was too piqued. And for this comparison, we're going to do the Switch 1 versus the Switch 2, and then for giggles, we threw in the PC just to see the difference between the Switch 2 and the PC, because, hey, who's not curious at this point, right? So first, let's start with the Switch 1. And right here, right out the gate, it looks really, really bad. I mean, I'm talking bad. This is definitely one of the worst games I've ever seen graphically, and the character models remind me of how Killer Instinct looked when it originally came out. It's literally all muddied up and just, it doesn't look right. And even right here, when we're doing the initial drop, you can see that it looks like a project that was just unfinished. It's pretty funny looking, actually. In case you're wondering what this is running at 720p at 30 frames per second, but honestly, it looks even worse than that. I don't know if the video is capturing how bad it actually plays. Now let's take a look at the Switch 2. And almost immediately, you can see that there's a giant graphical difference. And when you're doing your initial drop, you get better draw distance, so everything just looks way better too. And you know how just a second ago, I was saying that the Switch 1 was running at 720p at 30 frames per second? This is 1080p at 60 frames per second. And that little resolution bump made a huge difference, but it's more than that, and that's my point. Just the overall experience is way better. There's more consistency on the frame rate, and there's less popping on the graphic models. And although the Switch 2 version is running at 1080p, it looks way better than the 1080p version that was running on the PS4. Like, night and day difference. But in case you don't believe me, here's a side-by-side comparison on the PC version versus the Switch 2 version. The only caveat that I'll say is that the PC version is actually running at 300 frames per second, but you can't see that right here because this is a 60 frames per second video. And while I appreciate all the graphical and performance updates on Apex Legends for Switch 2, the big win here is actually with the Switch 2 Pro controller. I'm telling you, this thing is absolutely phenomenal and gives the best experience that you can have with any controller on any console, hands down. The haptic feedback is just out of this world, and the other controllers simply do not compete whatsoever. Trust me on this. I can't even explain it because it's just that much different. I was so impressed with the haptics on the Pro 2 controller that while I primarily play on PC, I will never play this game again on another console because the haptics on here are just so good and make that much of a difference when I'm playing it on a console. And if you're one of the people that have played Apex Legends on Switch 2 with the Pro 2 controller, chime in and let everybody else know that I'm not lying here. It's really that amazing. Anyway, I really want to showcase Apex Legends on the Switch 1 versus Switch 2, and it did not disappoint. I can't wait to see what games are able to squeeze power out of the Switch 2 in the future. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye.